Okay. We should be live if things decide to cooperate. Don't know if they will. We will find out. Ah, Stream Elements has joined us. KofiBot is joining us straight off the bat. The bots are assembling. Oh shit, I forgot to grab a drink. Alright, so we are starting a new needle felt. We are going to be following along with Bob Ross's Joy of Painting tutorials from Season 3, Episode 11, Rustic Barn. We did our idea sketch we did it Monday. And that is right here. It's going to be a lot more colorful than the last one for sure. Today we're going to actually start to sketch out our shapies to figure out where colors need to go. And we should be starting the sky today. We probably won't finish the sky today, but we should be starting it. For those that wish to see the tutorial in full with sound, we have it in the bottom corner. We have it muted. We do have closed captionings on it though. But for those that want it with sound in full, nice and big, that link should take you to the Bob Ross YouTube channel where you can see it in its entirety, and I will pin that in the chat. Now, if you'll excuse me, I just need to grab a drink, and I will be right back. Sorry about the thunk. Okay. So, we have our trusty flamingo pen from the Tree of Dollars. And this is just the backing of an 8x10 photo frame. It's gotten a little beat up. And I'm just going to use this to approximately find an almost 8x10 shape. Or close to an 8x10 shape. It won't quite be 8x10 by the time we're done because, you know, shrinkage and stuff getting pulled, and then me trying to even out the uneven sides. But it's not gonna get framed. We're gonna put a half dowel rod on the top to hang it. I'm not gonna do a bottom dowel rod this time on the last 3 that we're gonna do. And that is because I only have 3 half dowels left and I forgot to order more. I'm not sure if we really need the bottom one though. I mean, it does give a little weight to it. We will see. If it just doesn't sit right without it, then I will order more and add it on after the fact. Come on. I would like a crisp corner there, please. Well, as crisp as we can get. Okay. Let's cap the, oh no, we're not done with that yet. Okay. we have our quote-unquote canvas. Don't know where to place things. Okay. Now, we need to figure out our spacing here. Okay. Need my ruler, my T-square, because we need to kind of have a sort of straight horizon, and we need to figure out where that all is going to be. So we sort of have the bottom edge of our water here, because we do have a pond. So there's, let's see. So maybe a third of the way down to where the barn should be. Maybe. Okay, so if we sit the barn barn's gonna sit. These side wing things here are gonna get removed, so I'm just kind of doing that for the moment. And then we've got, that might be too high. Tell you what, let's sit you here, because I did have my barn a little high in the sketch, I remember now. Alright, so if we do our horizon here, right? Okay, then we've got like some pathway in here. I do want to look at the end piece on this one again, because now I'm not sure. No, stop. Dang it, YouTube. YouTube and its ads. Right on the credits. Pause. Okay. So we've got kind of like a chunk of grass in there, and then we've got a little bit of dirt. We kind of have another like chunk of like grassy things in there, but this all kind of comes down to our pond, which let's start how far over do we come? So we get to about maybe there, and then we start to angle kind of that way. And you know, this doesn't really, it's not really going to be exact, and our pond is a little small there, so alright, so that can be the pond. And this all is like some grassy stuff, so this is kind of going in that angle. Kinda, sorta. We do have to figure out how our barn is gonna sit, though. It's so... It's almost like this is actually, like, this way. Because the barn's kind of... on like a 3/4 view. Kind of. So like here is a corner. And then we kind of have it going this way a little bit. I got my angles fucked up. And then it kind of goes like this way. Kind of. And then like this kind of comes down that way. And then kind of like that. We can't really see a whole lot from that side. There's like a little thick section there. And then we've got our window there. And we've got a door there, and it looks like there might be a dark doorway there. I know my angles are a little off. But I'm not good at doing buildings, so, you know, it is what it is. We have an idea. We're trying, right? hang up the T-square. We'll put our sketch back there and hope it doesn't fall. Okay. I got most of the red off. That's okay. We'll have some pretty new colors joining it in a minute. Alright. So we need our finger doodles. The all-important finger doodles. We have a little bit of water just in case we need it, and some skizzers. And our needle. Our all-important needle. Okay. Now, we have to go through my color list because we have a lot of colors on this one. So, sky is going to be, we decided like a cornflower blue. So we need to dig through our bucket. Mr. Bucket. It's probably on the very bottom of Mr. Bucket. Oh my goodness. All of the colors. Thank you. Excuse me. I never did get any Benadryl yet. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh, would you be willing to check your prime? Okay. Alright. What is my... Oh, okay, that's the keyboard tray. Alright, so we have some of our cornflower blue. This one is from Big Twist Value Line. It's a decent sky blue. They do have a sky blue, but it's much lighter. And he kind of went with a bit of a darker blue here. Just a little bit of water there. Helps make that be a little bit more workable. Alright, so we're gonna advance the tutorial to where Bob is putting the sky in. We have to do things a little different than how Bob does them. Ugh. Sneeze did me in. Okay, so we'll just pause it there. We need to get our sky in here. I'm going to turn this guy sideways just for a minute, just so I can see this top edge here. Okay, so I'm going to go a little over our edge. Not a huge amount, but a little bit on the side. And then I'm going to tap in right on the edge. I just find this works a little bit easier for me. And then I'm going to take this up to our marked out edge at the top. Now the top edge doesn't matter quite so much. I mean, we kind of want to stay on our line up there, but it's not a huge deal if we get a little wobbly up there, because that one's going to have our hanger dowel rod sitting on top. And if it gets a little wonky, we'll be able to make an adjustment. Hold on a second. I have got to blow my nose. That sneeze was horrendous. Okay. We'll see how that does. Hopefully I won't be as snuffly. We will do what we can. Don't forget you want to pop that up off of your mat every so often, at least if you're using like this kind of mat. Or else you might get a little too attached to your mat and you're gonna have a heck of a time getting it off of there. So we have our first bits of color in. Hard to see it because it's down there in the corner, but it's there. I think we already have our corners stretched out. That's okay. So I'm gonna overlap the line just a little here on the side. I'm gonna try to tap in on the line itself. So today will be sky work, and tomorrow probably too. It does take a little bit when we are putting in large chunks of color. For our background. So hope everybody's having a good weekend. All of the traffic decides to get loud as heck all of a sudden. Just to annoy us, right? It's okay. The traffic and the wind chimes seem to be competing with one another today. Excuse me, I am sorry. Ugh. Hang on. That sneeze, or both sneezes really, like opened a floodgate. From my sinuses. Oof. Get up here, chair. Okay. Sorry, I just had to take some Benadryl real quick. Okay, now that presents a slight gap there because I didn't overlap both of those pieces. What the hell, traffic? Traffic all of a sudden just got loud. We are under a wind advisory today for gusts up to 50 miles an hour. And that is going through 6 a.m. in the morning. So the wind chimes are going to be a little bit loud today. That's nothing new though, right? So we have to compete with them. And the traffic's trying to compete with the wind chimes. Nothing I can do about the traffic. If it's that loud for you, it's even louder for me. So that's all I can say. Alrighty. Every loud vehicle is suddenly going by. There must be like a neon sign that's only visible to other people. My goodness. All right. We're supposed to have thunderstorms like around 5 a.m. or something. We'll see if they actually happen. They've got us in a severe day tomorrow. So hopefully it will pass quickly because we need to do some sink maintenance tomorrow if at all possible. And we can't really be playing with water if it's going to be lightning. That's just not a good idea. And with the way our luck's been lately, I really don't want to transit, so we need to... I think we just need to replace a washer. I don't think we need to replace an entire faucet. I think we just need to replace a washer. Hopefully. Hopefully it will be a simple, easy fix to get our kitchen sink to stop dripping like mad crazy. Excuse me. We'll see if it will actually be that simple, though. Right. Oh, can you go start the washer? I'm gonna get that done. So I'm just trying to get our side.
Okay, so correction, Aunt will be arriving tomorrow. She said tomorrow yesterday.
Yeah.
But apparently she meant Monday. So.
I told you there weren't any flights landing at noon today. Oh boy. So Dog Mom Aunt was supposed messaged us last night after stream. It said she found a flight and she'd be here tomorrow. She was gonna land around noon, and that another one of Russell's aunts was going to pick her up and drop her off. And that she'd be in around noon, so she should be here around 2 after the drive from the airport. And I was like, we would have gone and picked her up, and now she said tomorrow, but she meant Monday, apparently, because I'm like, when I had gotten up, I was like, there's no flights arriving at noon today from any carrier. There were some that arrived 11 and 11:30, but nobody arrived around noon. Oh boy. And that's not helpful because we need to take a potty sample from Momo back to the vet tomorrow. So I guess we won't be replacing the sink or replacing the washer on the sink tomorrow. Never mind. Because we have to, if it's not storming, help his aunt outside clean up the area around the RV and gather up all their stuff that they left everywhere. Right. Sure. Because I thought it was very odd that the other aunt was picking her up 2 hours away in one direction on a church day. Because that particular aunt is very churchy that was going to be picking her up. And I'm like, really? Like, that don't sound right. But, okay. Alright. So I got my 1.5 miles on the treadmill. So yay. I had to miss a few days this week because of a migraine and circumstances, and last week I missed most of the week. Or was that this past week? That might have been this past week. hopefully this week we can get back on track. Alright, so we've got a little corner started there. We're getting there. I mean, it's just the start. We kind of have our shape haphazardly sketched out here. All right. Okay. So, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Anybody do anything fun this weekend? Or what did you guys do this weekend? Not sure if I'm going to end up doing farmers market this year. I might hold off. I might hold off and just wait till we do a moving yard sale eventually, or I might try to go back to eBay. We'll see. I'm still kind of thinking about it. I had a little bit of success on eBay. A little. Probably similar to Etsy. But I think I lost more money on Etsy with posting fees and stuff than I ever did on eBay. Because honestly, I just don't see us getting up at 6 a.m. every Saturday morning to go do the farmer's market. Because we'd have to get up around 6 to get the dogs out and get the car packed up and get ourselves awake and dressed and organized to be down there to set up for 8. It opens at 8 and I think they start setting up at like, some people are there at like 6:37 setting up. I just don't see us following through with that every week. All right. So I'm just pulling out some clumps of our fluff. We should have enough to do the sky. Like, I'm not anticipating needing to fluff more to finish that up. So are you gonna go check on the dog then?
Yeah, I'm going to in a minute.
So how did this come about? Did you text her?
I checked to make sure she landed safely.
Well, that's gonna complicate matters if it's storming all day tomorrow. I don't know if it's supposed to be, but I know it is supposed to storm around like 5, 6 a.m. And I'm not sure what kind of weather to expect out of these storms tomorrow, because they've got us in a severe day tomorrow. And I'm already seeing some posts from storm chasers getting ready to start chasing over in Oklahoma, and I'm like, nobody said anything about severe weather here. So hopefully that shit stays over there. Sorry if you're in Oklahoma, but I don't want it. You keep it. No thanks. You keep that stuff to yourself. You don't need to share. Alright. So let's get back to getting in our side bit here. So again, I'm kind of doing a little bit over our border line here. And I'm trying to tap on the line. Just in the hopes that we get a semi unwonky side. We'll see how that goes. All right. We're getting closer to finishing this season. And so far we have actually done, hold on, let me check the list. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Excuse me. We have actually done all of them in this season up to this. The photos of the finished ones can be found on my Ko-fi or Instagram. Ko-fi's gonna have an album for needle felting, so, or it should, somewhere. If you want to see the other ones from this season, it's taken us a little while to get through them, because for a while we were only working on it 1 day a week, because that's all my schedule had time for. But some other projects ended, so we have time to go back to work on this guy 2 days a week now. Alright, hey, we're adding some more color in there. That's always fun. Always fun. We'll add some blue back onto this pad here. to mix in with all that red from the last one. So I am using acrylic yarn. So it is possible to do this with that in case you have a wool allergy, which some people do. Traditionally, people use roving for this or some kind of wool or whatever, but we are doing the acrylic yarn. The acrylic yarn does take a little bit more prep, but it is an alternative if you do have that wool allergy. So you can still find a way to partake. And I do have a video on the YouTube channel on the Nisey Needle Felts playlist. For how to prep the yarn to get it to a unyarned state, back to a fluffy state, untwisted state, I guess. It's not too bad. It is a little time consuming if you're having to do a lot of colors. I tend to prep a Ziploc bag full of fluff when I first get the colors, so that way I'm ready to go. And I have a section of the wall next to me that has all of our prepped yarn colors that we have. Some bags are a little fuller than others. I need to top some guys off. And I need to swap over the bag they're in because I got a little bit sturdier and a little bit bigger of a Ziploc so I could have more fluffed and ready to go. But I didn't get everybody swapped over yet. Most of them are. There's still a few colors that aren't. Okay. So again, and I also like to overlap my sections here, so that way I don't get like a funny seam when they join in. So you will see me do that a bit. This one looked like it needed a little more tacking down there. So I am just using a regular piece of craft felt. There's no sticker on these ones. Just realized that. Or this one didn't have one. From like the kids' craft area. It's just like the normal soft felt thickness. I did get a thicker one that I was gonna try. But then I realized for how many layers of fiber we get going on here, it's gonna get kind of thick, and the thicker felt might not be the better choice for this, just for what we're doing. And you can use whatever base color you want, really. I've been leaning towards the neutral colors lately, but I mean, we did one early on this project where I was using like neon orange because that's the color I had before I realized that that particular set of felt I had bought in bulk, and it said it was a certain size, and then when I got it, it was smaller than that. Which didn't help me, so I found that like the craft store, even some of the felt from the craft store that's like supposed to be, what is this, 9x12, is a little off just for how some sets get cut. But most of them are close to the 9x12 that I've picked up recently, which makes it a little bit easier. Oh, and I just spilled all of that water. Good job. That's alright. It wasn't very much water. It was a water bottle cap full. That's alright. So I like it being 9x12 when we're trying to get close to an 8x10 size. So it just gives us a little bit more room on the edges to work with. And you know, we'll see how this one comes out. I'm not so good at buildings. I always get my angles wrong for how my brain processes them. Like, I can see angles and understand them, like, looking at the buildings themselves, but then when I go to put that down on paper, it doesn't always, more often than not entirely translate, so. But that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're just gonna follow along with Bob as best as we can. Even though this medium's a lot slower than Bob's, we have followed along with the oil paint before. I do have a series that we haven't visited recently, but I do want to get back to, where I'm going to attempt to do all of the Bob Ross tutorials with gouache. Like all of them. All, what, 29, 30, 31 seasons, whatever it was. We will see how that goes. Yes, we are 3. No. How many are we in on that? We're still in season 1 on that one. Sorry, I'm just trying to mop up the water that's here. I guess I could just grab a tissue. Yay for contact paper. This is not the actual color of my desk. So, we learned the lesson from the last desk, and the painter's tape and the veneer not getting along. So let me see here. We are... I'm gonna tab off of this for a second. One more. So... This is it gonna put me... that'll put me in another thing. Alright. Playlists. Alright. So we did Wilderness, Island in the Wilderness. We did Mountain Lake Falls. Oh wait, no. Oh, that's not what it was. I'm like, wait, that doesn't look familiar. Here we are. I'm like, why is Steve on the second one? That's not right. Okay, we did Walk in the Woods. We did Mount McKinley. We did Ebony Sunset. And we did Winter Mist. So we are up to episode 5. Quiet Stream on that one. I just haven't had the chance to get back to it recently. So we'll have to see how that goes. I can't remember if I did acrylic paint on this one in the background and I just painted over it, because there's some that he does black gesso. So I don't really remember, honestly. Because if we do the entirety of black gesso, it's going to reactivate when we put the other colors on there. So I kind of think I did do acrylic paint down and then did the the gouache on top of it. I'm sorry. My brain got confuzzled. Too many G words in there. But it's always a slow start when we get going. So we do have quite a bit of solid color. And then I kept second guessing my line placing, so there's all kinds of weird adjustments going on here. Those won't be visible once we get everything down, because we're going to cover it up. This will lay down on top of it, and you won't see those pen lines once we get going here. These allergies, man, between the wind and everything. I fell asleep a little after 1:30, so yay. And even though Momo was being weird, so I was being a little stressed about him, but he finally settled somewhere and I managed to fall asleep, and then I woke up at one point to Zuzu getting in bed with us. And then I woke up again at like 5 a.m. I was so fucking hot. Because our blanket keeps us pretty toasty. And between that and the dog, I was like, oh my god, what is happening? And then I realized I was so stuffy. I was like, oh, my Benadryl must have wore off. And then I had to go to the bathroom. I'm like, right. So I got up, got some more Benadryl, went to the bathroom, checked on the doggo that was in his dog bed, went to get back in bed, and Zuzu had repositioned himself to take up most of my side of the bed. And I'm like, dog, what the fuck? I was like, I need to get in here. We have to share. And I managed to squeeze myself on the edge of the bed because he wasn't budging. And sort of got settled there. And hang on, I just thought of something that I don't know. Huh. Where that is. Ah! I've got to attach these shelves together with like a clamp or something. And he wouldn't budge. So then we kind of had to have a talk about letting me in. Then he resettled behind me and was throwing his whole weight into my back, and I'm like, oh buddy, this hurts. That 20-pound little football sure does take up a lot of room. And you know, what can you do, right? And I think I woke up around 9:30. to Russell being up and moving about, doing something. And I finally dragged my ass out of bed like around 10 or so. I have no idea what that just was. It was something. No idea. Alright, give me 1 second. Trying to find my folder. Because I don't know where it went to. Give me 1 second. Because that's a problem if I don't know its location. At least it's a problem for me. Huh. With the window umbrella. It's not back there. Huh. That is slightly concerning. Oh, what the hell? Excuse me. Who said you could be... I have stuff precariously stacked, and it was fine. Sorry, Mama. When I didn't need to touch it. And then the second I need to touch things, everything goes to hell. Whoa. Oh, that's troublesome. That was my working folder. It's not in there. Huh. I didn't think I had buried it that hard. Actually, I might know where it is. And I don't know if I can get to it. Because a certain puppy is all cuddled up. No, actually, I don't feel it in there either. Holy cow, that's a problem. But I can't find that. Wow. That kind of angers me. I didn't think I had buried it that deep. But I guess I never can find anything when I need it, so.
And what were you looking for?
I have an accordion folder
Oh, hell, I've got no idea.
that I have all of my my templates and everything in. And I thought it was like right here. Okay. Oof, I didn't think I had put it that far out of seem to find it. And I keep going to where I thought I had put it, and obviously it's not there. So that's kind of aggravating. As I'm getting stuck on everything with my chair. Oh! Ha! I'm like, I'll put it here so I don't lose it. Not with my art supplies. Okay, cow. Get out of there. Come on. Beep beep. Not for cow. Come on. Okay. Found it. Sorry. So, let's see here. Okay. It's where I have our Bob Ross Happy Trees, where I'm keeping them at the moment until I can get the binder that I'm going to put them in. So this was the first one of season 1. It was very hard to do. The sky should have been a little bit lighter, but gouache likes to reactivate under itself, and that one was a little bit strange looking anyway. And that was the second one of season 1. This was the third one, which didn't come out too terrible. I'm still not sure if that was acrylic under there or gouache. It might have been acrylic. And then this was the fourth one. That one didn't come out half bad. I kind of liked that one. And we did those with the jelly gouache. But I'm going to try to use the Arteza gouache on the next one that we do. I still like this one. That was a Sharpie. Was it Sharpie or was it Micron? I think it was Sharpie and watercolor. So. Yes, that was fun. I did like doing that one a bit. Alright, I will put you somewhere where I can find you more easily again. Hopefully. Alright. So let's get back to doing what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, they didn't come out half bad. The fifth one in that season is a lot of green. So that one might be a little tricky. We'll see how that goes. But this Saturday we're going to do those birdhouses. So maybe when we finish the birdhouses, we'll dip back into the Happy Trees project. So last night we thought was the last night we had to deal with the dog ourselves, but it was not the case. So we need to go visit her, or Russell does, in a minute. Check on her, make sure she's all right out there. And we'll see if dog mom actually gets here tomorrow. But we should be done dealing with the vet by the time she would arrive anyway. If we we manage to get there before they get too busy. But at least we don't have to call ahead. They told us just to show up, so it's like, okay. I think we're still gonna have to do one more round of antibiotics on the pupper.
Oh, sure.
At least. But we'll see. Ah! Okay. Plus he was being really weird the past like 24 hours. We don't know if he picked up a stomach bug or what. Or if he got into something while we were sleeping that we didn't know about. Because he wasn't real thrilled about dinner. I had to hand feed him his dinner. It might have been a little too much rice mixed in. Because he stopped eating his dry dog food, and most dry dog food has ground up rice in it, so I'm like, well, let's see. Did manage to get him to eat a little bit of it. And then he refused to eat any more. We grabbed him a plain hamburger from McDonald's when we were out getting stove cleaner last night. To try to keep this stove at least looking halfway decent for as long as we can. And he did eat that. Russell said he wasn't super enthusiastic, but he was eating it without too much begging to get him to do so. Because he's like refused to eat his dry dog food now. We don't, ever since we tried to give him the urinary tract health dog food, he's like, nope, I'm on to you motherfuckers. Not doing it. And so I don't want to go super expensive dog food if he's not going to eat it. I mean, if we have to go the IMS route, then we have to go the IMS route, but he had been doing pretty well eating the Purina 1 stuff. Although he is a bit of a stinker, he's always been picky about the dog food, because at one point when there was like chunks of, I guess, dried meat in the dog food, or the more meatier chunks, he would pick those out and eat those and leave everything else. There'd be like a pile of dog food on the floor next to his bowl, where he would just sit there and pick out the good stuff and leave the rest of it. So he's always been kind of fussy. We were thinking, well, maybe he just doesn't want it because it's real hard. Because if it's a harder, crunchier food, like if we give him a treat that's like a little bit crunchier, like milk bones and stuff, we would have to break them up so he had like an interior piece to start chewing on, because they seem to be too hard for him. So we don't know if there's like a teeth issue going on or something, but we're gonna talk to the vet about that once we get his pee situated. So he's been rubbing his face a lot all over his bed, and I can't figure out if he's trying to rub like the side of his face where his teeth are, or if he's trying to rub his ears, because he did have like a yeasty ear infection a while ago that we had to give him eardrops for, that we thought had cleared up. But I'm beginning to wonder if the antibiotics made it come back or something, so I don't know, it could be a teeth issue. Sometimes he just rubs his face on stuff. He could have just had an itchy nose. I mean, for fuck's sakes, our allergies are going crazy. I'd be surprised if his aren't as well. I was in the bathroom yesterday and I must have sneezed like 5 times in a row. I was like, oh my god, what the hell? I was like, buddy, could we not? I just want to pee. That's all I want. We don't need to be in here forever because I can't stop sneezing. Hopefully the weather isn't too much of an issue tomorrow, but I guess we won't get to the sink until Tuesday now. I'm so mad. I'm mad, but I'm not. I'm frustrated, I guess, because we were expecting her to show up this afternoon. So we didn't bother trying to bring the dog in the house last night since we thought she was going to be here today. And disrupting everybody's routine. We're like, oh, for one night we won't bother. Had we known she wasn't coming till Monday, we might have tried to. We've got the monster wind chime back outside too, so the big honking one that Russell picked up. It's been too wet for pollen there. I mean, I guess that's one good thing. It is supposed to rain overnight into the around morning, I guess. There's showers and storms. Oh, what the fuck did I do to my hand? What the fuck? Oh, I must have did that when I was searching for the folder. Sorry, guys. Kind of looks like a scrape. Huh. That's weird. Doesn't feel like anything. I just looked down and saw it. But I think I scraped my hand on something. We'll put some eczema lotion on just in case I touch something that freaked my hand out. Don't know. The way my body's been lately. Alright. Nothing would surprise me. Yeah, it's just been, like, we're outside for, like, 10-15 minutes, and we come back home, and it's like, oh my god. The funny thing is, I guess it's not really funny, but it, like, Russell, was having a huge sinus headache the other night, well, the other afternoon, and, he'd gone to the one local grocery store down the street from us, and because I needed eggs for dinner, and I went to go start making dinner, and I'm like, sweetie, you've got to check the date on the eggs. I was like, did they have a lot of eggs there? And he goes, yeah, why? And I was like, these eggs expired 3 days ago. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, you bought expired eggs. I was like, remember, we have to obsessively check the dates on stuff. This is why. It's that one time you don't check. And I was like, well, here, you want to take them back? He goes, no, they were $3. I am not going back and taking them back for $3. He goes, I'll just go to the other store. He goes, it's fine. I'm like, well, now we can't use them. So that was a waste. He goes, I'm not dealing with it for $3. He's like, what the fuck ever. And when he got to the next town over where, like, the Walmart grocery is, it's just a grocery, it's not like a super center or anything. He's like, I swear I've started to feel better. even just a little bit when I was there. He's like, and as soon as I got back here, it flared back up again with his sinus headache and shit. And I'm like, we are convinced there is something in this particular area that our systems are just like, nope, no thank you. And we don't know what it is. Where you have to do your best at work, but some stuff can get away from you. Yeah, and I was thinking maybe they went heavy on their egg order for like Easter and stuff, and somebody just didn't rotate. But I mean, we worked at a Walmart grocery store. We worked for Neighborhood Market, not this one that we shop at, but it was a different one. And there's supposed to be like dates and shit are supposed to be rotated, oldest stock to the front. It never actually happens half the time, because they don't give you time to fucking do it. They order too much and expect too little people to get shit done properly. So like, we know from working there that we have to check the dates, and we haven't really had a problem at the Neighborhood Market that we go to most of the time, because they've got such a high rate of business that stuff's pretty much leaving the shelves in a timely manner, for most things in there. The grocery store down the street that I worked at for like 4 hours before I had an anxiety meltdown and couldn't do it. I don't know how well they stay on top of things, because half of the time their produce, I don't know if they just don't have that many people buying stuff, or if the person that does their produce section just doesn't care. But half the time, like, you go to pick up stuff and it's bruised to shit, it's starting to mold or starting to go bad, and it's like, yeah, no, that ain't it. Like, I went to get apples the one night in there, and like 2/3 of them had big nasty bruises that were getting really super soft, and huge brown spots on half the apple, and I'm just like, okay, I guess we're not getting apples tonight. But we do kind of have to keep an eye on that. So, like, dinner ended up being super late because he had to drive the 10-15 minutes to go to that Walmart, and then he stopped and got himself McDonald's that I didn't know he was doing, and I'm like sitting here because I can't put the chicken parmesan in the oven without the breading, and I needed the eggs for the breading. And you think there's something in the house where you're living, you feel fine when you're not here. Yeah, like, it's crazy. So we noticed that when we're here, I don't know if it's this particular house or if it's the area, but we've noticed that we're super achy when we're here. Like, Russell's allergies will be so bad his chest will ache sometimes, and he keeps thinking he's got a heart problem, and he keeps going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, no, we don't see anything wrong. And it's wild. And my joints weren't quite as, like, my joints ache something awful, like past injuries ache terribly and stuff. And we left here for 2 weeks, and the only time I even thought about my back issues or my neck issues was when I stepped down funny, and I had like a slight twinge, and I was like, ooh. And then I just had to like shorten my gait a little bit for for maybe an hour or two, and then I didn't think about it anymore. And I was pushing my mom's wheelchair 90% of the time. So that way Russell didn't have to deal with it as much. And my back wasn't bothering me. My back started bothering me on the way home because I went to put one of the suitcases in the car and I lifted it up awkwardly. And I think I pinched something, and then I was like getting like clenchy, tingly sensation for a little bit. But that was my own fucking fault. But aside from that, didn't have our normal aches aside from our feet hurting from walking so much. But that was explained, and he felt pretty good. I felt pretty good. We were back 2 days now. We did have to deal with having COVID when we came back, but even after we got rid of that, the allergies kicked off real bad again. Our joints started hurting real bad again. There is something in this area that we are not liking. Our systems are just not having it. And it is wild. Like when we went to Tulsa a couple of times to go to the zoo, as we were driving closer to Oklahoma, we felt better. Like I was so sick with my allergies at one point. I was losing my voice when we went. And my mom's like, well, maybe we shouldn't go if you're sick. I'm like, I'm not sick. It's my fucking allergies. Can we please get the hell out of here? And we got there. It was fine. Allergies didn't bother me one bit. We came back, and as we crossed this, as we got closer to the state line and crossed over, almost immediately I started getting stuffy again, started losing my voice again. It was wild. Absolutely wild. And part of me is like, Russell and I are like, well, maybe it's the hay fields. Because I know the Timothy hay, my hands get super itchy when I was touching it for the pigs. Like, unbelievably itchy. So he had to deal with the hay most of the time, or else my hands would be like beet red from me scratching the shit out of them. And there are all kinds of hay fields around us from like the cattle farms and stuff. But I think there's hay fields over there too, so I'm like, I don't know if that's really it. We don't know what it is that's bugging the fuck out of us, but it's something in this area. Don't know if it's the elevation combining with something else. I have no idea, because we're certainly not close to sea level here. When we were in Key West, we were pretty much like at sea level, or like, I think the highest was maybe 3 feet above sea level. It wasn't very high. They're pretty flat, and we felt pretty good. And even when we were where my brother lives, near Tampa, and even when we were in Tampa, we felt okay. It was wild. You ordered a pallet of just eggs for this week, and you're exactly right. They want it done, and they want it done yesterday, and you can't do everything. Yeah. Plus, at the neighborhood market I was at, there was an overstock team that came in for a while. They would come in at like maybe 6. They came in while we were zoning, because we had to start zoning at 5 after our last 15-minute break, because they had us go together since it was overnight. So everybody except the people that came in early to unload the truck went to lunch at like, when did we go to lunch? We went to lunch at 2. Or was it 1? I think first break was at midnight. So we started at 10. And I had like 15 minutes. And I think we went to lunch at 2. We were off the clock for an hour. And then I think last 15 minute was like 4:30, 4:45, somewhere in there. Because we had to be zoning by 5 a.m. So the overstock team, I think, came in at 6, and we would just drop the overstock on the floor in front of where it went on the shelves, and they would come in and tag it and scan it into the system and put it up on the shelves above it or take it to the back, depending on what it was. But suddenly, towards the end of me being there, no, we're not paying these people to do that anymore. You guys are going to do it. So as you're offloading the shit off of the pallets, if it won't go out, you need to go to this scanner, print a label, and scan how much of it is for overstock into the system, and then, you know, put it up on the risers or take it to the back yourselves. And I'm like, you do understand that half the night we're short-staffed. We don't have time for this. But they didn't care. So I'm like, well, shit, some shit's just not gonna get done. But, so, hang on, chat jumped on me. The bots. So you think you're dealing with mold there? Honestly, not your place though. You got an air purifier to try if that helps. And that's how you are just going to and from work. And yeah, like, oh god, Target's like that too. It's just, there's just not enough time. Like, the system was working, things were getting done, and then they're like, well, things were barely getting done. And depending on how much they ordered, because that particular store ordered so much shit. And then got mad at us when the cooler was overflowing. And got mad at us when we weren't overfilling the shelves. And I'm like, look, motherfucker. The computer training's telling me one thing and you're telling me another, and I can't work like this. Plus then I found out that one of the managers that had it, I don't know if they had it out for me, but they just like to torment the fuck out of me. And I found out that they did something incredibly fucking stupid, and as punishment were placed on overnights permanently. Because they used to rotate every couple of months what manager was on overnight. And this particular manager got kind of arrogant and wasn't listening to what the cashier was trying to tell him. There had been a bulletin put out for... Well, he's done a lot of shit, but there was a bulletin put out, I think, for Western Union about how there was a scam going around. And they didn't want Western Unions cashed after a certain time because they needed to have them verified a specific way. And somebody came in with a Western Union money order thingy, and I guess he didn't want to fucking verify it, and I think she was looking for manager backup about whether or not she should do this. And he's like, just do it. Like, he got mad at her, and he, like, told her to fucking do it. And, turned out that was a scam. And he got in trouble. And then they're like, well, he's on nights permanently now. And I'm like, yeah, like, that's a punishment for him. You understand that he doesn't give a flying fuck, right? Like, in the meantime, you're punishing all of us that have to deal with his ass. Thanks so much. And they had me on one of the heavy aisles after I dropped doing dairy and frozen. And because I was sick of doing my work and my coworkers' work, who spent half the night texting instead of doing anything. There was no hurry to her whatsoever. She worked at a snail's pace, and her mentality was, they'll find someone to help us towards the end of the night. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. That's not the way this works. We're still expected to get as much shit done as we can. And she just didn't give a flying fuck. And I'm like, well, you're not fucking getting me in trouble when I'm down here sweating, working my ass off. And I'm done half a pallet before you're even like a quarter of the way in, because you keep picking up your phone and drinking on the job and everything. So no thanks. This can be somebody else's problem. I am not doing this department anymore. I need the money, but I am not dealing with this. And then they had me in like the canned goods aisle, which I'm like, oh good. Heavy stuff. And then I found out, like, I would sometimes be in like general merchandise at night, if not over in grocery, but apparently I was also one of the few people that was actually getting anything accomplished over in general merchandise. And then I heard that heard a rumor that they were gonna put me over there permanently again, and I'm like, really? I was like, I can't. I'm not sleeping during the day anymore. I can't sleep. I haven't slept in like 3 days properly. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep, and I couldn't do it. I quit. They're like, well, can we change you to a different shift? I'm like, that manager is part of the problem, number one. And I can't sleep anymore, number two. I can't sleep during the day anymore. I've been trying. It's not working. My body finally had enough of doing overnights. Oh, it's Russell. I'm like, what's the fucking banging out in the other room? I thought the cats were getting into something. I was very, very confused. You're pretty much left alone because of how much you can do, so that's a plus anyway. So, I mean, yeah, no, for some reason, that particular manager just loved getting a rise out of me and knew he would upset me and was constantly trying to push me. I think he took pleasure in making people cry. But I'm sorry. Could we stop, like, threatening to write me up and just fucking do it? If you're gonna do it, then do it, because I'm gonna fight it. Look at the fucking cameras. I'm fucking doing work. I'm doing more work than some of the other people in there that nobody says a fucking word to, so I'm gonna refuse to sign that write-up. Just fucking do it then. I'm like, write me up for being 2 minutes late getting cardboard to the back. Okay. Sure. And what if I was helping a customer and that's why I was 2 minutes late? I mean, y'all want us to help the people, right? We can't just ignore them. So next time I have to tell them, oh, I'm sorry, my manager needs this off the floor in like 30 seconds, and if I don't get it back there, I'm getting written up, so I can't help you. Yeah, okay. Walmart home office is gonna love that shit. So, my sanity hit a breaking point, and I'm like, nope, can't do this no more. And I don't even know if the casinos in Oklahoma, if they're open 24 hours. I don't know. They might be. I'm trying to think. I don't think I ever had to call any in Oklahoma. Like, I always say that I can tell the people to fuck off if that helps. I mean, yeah, it's like, you know what? I had my sanity pushed to the breaking point when I was merchandising at AC Moore too, because they're like, why isn't your stuff done? Why do you still have freight on the back of the aisles? It's 1 o'clock. I was like, okay. I was like, hold up. Hold the fuck up. I couldn't say fuck to them, but I'm like, hold up. Back that train up. Number 1, you've got me first call to register. Number 2, have you not been hearing them calling me to register all goddamn morning? Number 3, if I'm on register, I can't get the freight done. I'm only one person. I'm in the back corner of the store. By the time I get back there, they're calling me back up front again. My orders aren't done either if you want to really get down to it, and I haven't been to lunch yet. And I need to eat, because I've been here since like 8 o'clock this morning. Everybody else on my side of the store gets to go to lunch before me, even though I came in before them, for some fucking reason, when it's not supposed to be that way. And like, I need to go to lunch. The one day I was so upset. I was like, I need to get off register. I need to go to lunch. It's after 1. I've got stuff I need to do. I have orders that have to get done. I need to be off register. And they're like, yeah, okay. And then I'm like, well, can I go to lunch? Because the person on my side of the store is back now. Or both of them are back now. Because I had to wait for them to come back. And they're like, yeah, go to lunch. And then I went to go sign out. They're like, oh no, we need you until so-and-so shows up. And I'm like, then call the other person from the other side of the store on my side. I need to go to lunch. What do you guys do when I'm at lunch? Like, I'm not a cashier. I am a merchandiser. I have shit to do. They were holding me on register because it was busy, or just busy enough, until one of the other supervisors for the afternoon came in. And it was getting to be 1:30, so now I'm a half hour late even going to lunch. And I'm like, guys, where is she? Like, is she showing up? Why is she late? Like, I need to go to lunch. And they're like, well, you have to wait till she comes back. And I was getting mad. And then one of the store manager walked up front and only caught part of it, and so he was reaming me out because I was mad that the other person wasn't there yet and I needed to go to lunch, and he only caught tail end of it. So he was like reaming me out in front of everybody up front, and then he reamed me out again back in the break room in front of everybody else. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. I'm like, maybe if your other people would actually come up. And then he's like, well, why isn't your stuff done either? And I'm like, we just talked about this. Because they've had me on register all afternoon. Because I'm first call. I was just, oh. Like, we just went over this. I can't get stuff done if I'm in one place and not the other. Like, yeah, I might have a smaller department, but if there's a lot of sales coming up for holiday or whatever, there's a lot more freight. Like, then let me come in at 7 a.m. That way I can get more shit done. If they let me come in at 7, or even 7:30 most days to start getting my shit up, but then I would have had to leave at 3. So, there was no winning. There was absolutely no winning. I was so glad when that manager got promoted to district and he wasn't in the store all day. I'm like, please go away. The one that took his place was a little pissy at times and would have temper tantrums, but nowhere near as bad as the original one. And I could usually give the one that replaced him a look when he was being a little much. And sometimes he would calm the fuck down. But that's okay. His ass got in trouble with the office manager at one point because he made me or begged me to stay late. I'm like, look at the fucking cameras. He's up there on his knees at customer service begging me to stay so he didn't have to fucking put his assistant manager tonight on register to run customer service. And then office manager is going to come in the next morning screaming at me while I'm doing deposits and finishing up back office shit that she has me doing for her so she doesn't have to come in on Sunday. I'm like, y'all are just ridiculous. You don't have to scream at me. I understand you're mad because we couldn't have overtime that week, but, you know, circumstances happen. And he was the store manager and he decided to fucking have me stay. So this is a matter between you and him, instead of screaming at me after the fact. When I didn't decide to stay, I had to cancel my plans. So I'm like, you know what? It's like, fuck all of you at that point. Like, y'all need to be on the same page. I feel like I'm a child in the middle of divorced parents. Can we not? There is a little bit of a thin spot there. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
What you doing?
Well, I don't know if I can fix the drip completely, because I don't know if I can get to the gasket I need to get to.
So we have to replace the whole faucet.
We may ultimately have to just replace the damn sink. It might be easier at this point.
The sink and the faucet?
Yes.
Or, oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm going to measure up the size of the hole we've got, okay? But it might well be that it's easier to get a new sink while we're at it. Because, again, I've got the old weird cement shit on the faucet back there, which means it might be easier for me to disconnect everything and just lift the whole fucking thing out than to bother with trying to fucking take that apart and get the faucet and get the right faucet and so on.
So are we getting a double sink again?
Yeah.
Or are we just getting one large sink?
I would assume double sink again. We
Okay.
could just get one large sink.
Depends on how
I
much
use
they
my
are.
buckets.
Yeah.
So we could do that. I'll find out how much it is.
Uh-huh.
But for now, I gotta take measurements to figure out.
Nothing's ever easy in this fucking house, is it?
Nope.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that all sounds... Yeah, it pretty much was. I was a fucking doormat. And then the office manager threw a temper tantrum when I was leaving. So I'm like, look, damn it. I had another person that worked there that had been there for forever, and she's like, don't be a lifer here. Don't do it. Trust me. She's like, I'm stuck here because of my circumstances, but she's like, don't you do it. And I'm like, okay. And like, I thought she was being silly, and then as time was going on, I'm like, oh. Because she was the lady that had trained me. She's like, don't. Because, no, nothing is ever easy. Not for us, at least. Like, forget it.
Let's see.
It doesn't exist.
Well, good news, it's not that much more to replace the fucking sink.
Okay. We're not going to be able to do this tomorrow, though.
Oh, God, no. I ain't got time to do it tomorrow.
Tuesday at the earliest, maybe Wednesday. And Wednesday you've got D&D, so it would have to be Tuesday or Thursday. And Tuesday is a little questionable because it depends on if she's actually leaving on Tuesday.
So it looks like a single bowl would be a lot more costly.
Really? A farmhouse sink would be more?
Uh-huh.
That's dumb. There's less parts. Would it even fit that hole?
Yes, this is for the size thing that we've got.
And you're certain of the size?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if you were measuring the right spots. What was the banging? Do you actually have the sink pulled out of there?
Oh, no, I did manage to get the faucet open.
Uh-huh.
And I did manage to get to the point of there's a fucking, I think it's a cartridge system in there.
Uh-huh.
But I couldn't get the cartridge out, and I dare not grab it with pliers and pull, because that's asking for trouble. And I can't replace it right this second, so let's not do that right now. So, again, probably Tuesday, we will see about replacing the whole thing. I'm currently pricing it. I'll be able to tell you how much it's probably going to be in a little bit.
This is going to be another, like, $300 adventure.
Probably 3 to 5.
Oh, God. Home ownership, kids. On an old fucking house.
So, would we want single?
I don't know, because then I don't know what we do with the other drain. Because it's set up
good
for a
point.
double.
Good
so
point. I'd have to redo the... Well, I can't guarantee that the drains will fit in the new one anyhow.
Yeah.
I might be redoing drains anyhow, but if I remember correctly, they put modern stuff in there. So
they put some kind of like PVC under there because I remember smelling.
It's always PVC, but it looks like it's non. It looks like it's just screw-in sealing instead of.
Well, I know they
like gluing it in like they used to.
They did glue it though. They glued the joints because I remembered smelling the PVC glue smell.
You sure it wasn't just from them cutting it?
No, they glued it. They had like the purple glue that they were putting around it. They glued the joints together. Because I asked what the smell was and they said it was from the adhesive. They might not have glued it to the sink, but they glued the...
Yeah, I might be having to redo some of the pipes in there too.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because the reason they glued it is because they had to attach the old pipes to the new pipes.
Like, I remember them gluing, like, the PVC joints together, like, unless they just did that to make sure it didn't leak.
They may have done that to make sure it didn't leak because, oh my god.
I hate this house. I hate this house so much.
Yeah, so...
I will say, from everything going wrong, we now have a mental list running of things to look at when we go to leave here, if we end up trying to purchase another property, if we don't just end up renting somewhere. So now we know to check to see what the plumbing looks like under the sink if we can get to it to try to fix the problem. We know to ask, oh, when was the hot water heater last replaced? When was the roof last replaced? What kind of pipes are these? This is true. It's gotta be worth something to know all these things. Yeah, like Russell can do a little bit, but I don't think we'll need a plumber for this.
No, this is within my capabilities. This is something that I know enough to do.
But just, Jesus Christ.
Like, I've done basic plumbing now.
Like, we have 2 dates for when the house was built. I've seen 2 dates. I've seen 1921 and I've seen 1926. However, some stuff has been updated since then, and the house, we believe, has been added onto since then. I don't know the date of the additions, and I don't know who the fuck was doing the maintenance on this place beforehand. Because they were renting this property, I think, when his mom bought it. So, I don't really know. We don't really have a good history of the house. But good grief, Charlie Brown. Nothing is ever as simple as just pulling something up to replace a washer. Oh no, like a washer, like a rubber washer. Speaking of washer, did the washing machine stop?
Probably.
I swear. Nothing's ever simple. Not with this property. Even the plumbers that we had to come in and work on the sewer lines, they were the same guys that replaced the hot water heater for us. When they had to deal with the sewer lines under the house, they were even scratching their heads. They're like, I don't know what's going on with the plumbing under here. There's like sections of pipe that just kind of go to nowhere. And we're like, what? We didn't know anything about that. So maybe previous issues that were fixed or upgraded, or I don't know. Yeah, like they're like, we don't know what this is to. There was a cast iron vent pipe that went up through our roof that they couldn't do anything with. They're like, that's really heavy, and if we try to do this, Like, if we try to deal with it this way, there's a chance it could come crashing down through the roof. And we're like, oh no, don't do that. Like, they were nervous to touch it, so they had to do something else to deal with. We're gonna have to sell this property as is for, like, way lower than we were gonna. The old sewer lines they buried under the house after disconnecting them because they were too heavy for them to pull out safely. Because they were old cast iron pipes or some shit. We're like, this is what we can do. And we're like, okay, but at least we have the knowledge to give somebody else that, so we can disclose that that is under there. Just, oh my goodness gracious. So I know we've been fussing with this section a little bit extra, but it had some sections that looked like the gray was peeking through. And I know we're gonna have some trees covering this, but I just wanted to make sure we were good. And I think we're good now. Alright. So let's brush that down there. So we're getting there. Definitely getting there. Okay. Yep, gotta start somewhere. Sorry we've been sideways for most of it today, but sometimes it's just easier. Especially when I've got stuff I'm trying to line up against. Alright, so I did some math. Well, I didn't do math, but I did some counting last night. And so I've got 5 more videos left to... 5 more video files left to go on editing the Chungus project together. They range between 17 minutes and 5 hours, so that's the bad news, but I'm trying. Momo was mad that I was trying to stay up a little bit later in editing last night, so he was giving me the Gurry business because I wasn't packing up to go to bed at 10:30 and he was mad. So I only managed to get about 10-15 minutes of editing done last night. Excuse me. Because I couldn't figure out what his problem was, and then I realized, oh, he's mad because I'm not in bed yet, because there was a while where we were going to bed around, or getting ready for bed around 10:30. That time shows just how big the project was. Yeah, there was multiple 3 to 4 hour live streams in there, several 2.5 hour live streams in there. there's so much video in the media folder for that project that I kind of have to load the project and walk away from my PC for about 5 minutes for all of the raw video files to show up in the folder, because until like all the little preview windows pop up into it, I can't actually start editing it because it's busy thinking of putting everything else in place, and I'm like, oh lord. So I've got it sped up to 15% of an increase, whatever that means, and it was the fastest I could go without it being too much to look at with my hand going all over the place. And there's some sections where if it's a live stream, I'm like talking with my hands in some parts like every 10 seconds. So there's a lot of little tiny cuts in there. And then there were times where I was just stopping to look at something and I'm like, what was I doing? So there's a lot of editing down in that. So I've got it sitting at between the speed up and all of the little micro cuts that I've done. You can definitely see the cuts happening. There's nothing I can do about that because I got real flippy with Chungus at times where I'm like, oh, here, and then here, and then here. And speeding that up, it wasn't slow flips, it was jarring flips, so I had to start cutting some of those out. And, but right now I've got it sitting at 3 hours and 18 minutes. And I still have that 5-hour live stream to go, and I'm like, oh god. I'm like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I can get like a 2-hour live stream cut down and sped up to maybe a 10 to 15 minute chunk, maybe. So maybe about 10-minute chunk, depends on how many times I stopped to do something. So I'm at 3 hours and 18 minutes now. We still have the 5-hour live stream to go, plus there's a 17-minute video. I think there's an 1 hour and 45-minute video. There's another hour video. I'm getting towards the end. Oh gosh. I'm hoping I can keep it under 6 hours at this point. I really am. Final time on that might be 4 hours and 45 minutes. With a bit of luck. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Like I said, it depends on how much gets cut out of there, because sometimes the puppy potty breaks, if it was from a live stream, take a few minutes, or if something else is going on that I had to step away and deal with for a minute. But it's a lot of video. It's a lot of video. I can't wait to get rid of the raw files off of my, not really the raw files. They're, well, some of them are raw files and some of them were the downloaded live streams off of the YouTube channel. But, that's another thing. There was a lot of recorded offline on that project. So I do have a fair bit of, raw video from the OBS recordings that weren't, you know, so it's not just all live streams. And I tried for my sanity, because I know how I am, to, when I was recording, to try to record in like hour chunks, because when I see a light at the end of the tunnel of editing that particular chunk of video, have an easier time working on it, because I feel like I'm making progress. It feels like I'm chipping away at it a little bit faster than like the 2+ hour live streams. So I owe you guys, well, now I owe you guys 2 Bob Ross speed felts as well. So I'm gonna get Chungus finished as fast as I can, and then I have to go back in and lay the audio, lay some background music in on that. That's gonna be time consuming. Not too bad though, I can probably do that in like 2 days. Unless I go looking for different background. I might like see what they've got on YouTube Library, if they've added anything new. I keep using the same stuff because I already have it downloaded and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'll just go with this. But half of the tracks are super short, so I have a feeling we're gonna have to do a pinned comment for all of the for the music list, because I don't have an Epidemic sound license. I didn't want to shell out the money for that yet. So I mean, you'll probably get songs that are a little bit longer from there. So I've just been using YouTube Free Library, so I know I don't have any problems trying to get stuff figured out. So I might actually, I don't know, I really don't feel like it. I was gonna say, I might try to render the entire video before I lay the audio in and do it as a separate thing, just so I don't overload the thing. That would probably be the better thing to do, just to make sure it doesn't error because of how long it is. I know on one render I tried to do on something, somehow I don't even know how I fucking did it, but I managed to get a keyframe section put in, and it was like a 2-hour long video, and it rendered like 30 minutes of it, and it only rendered to where the keyframe was, and I was like, I tried removing that thing so many times, I couldn't remove it, and I was like, well, maybe it'll be fine, but it only rendered that section, and I'm like, what the fuck? So then I had to go back in and extend whatever I did for that thing, which I still am not sure what the fuck I did, and run it the entire length of the video track before it would render the whole thing. I'm like, I am not redoing this. But Russell did the first pass on the one Bob Ross needle felt that I owe you guys, I think, from before Christmas. And I still have that raw video sitting around, well, not really raw, but first pass done. I have the video for the one we just did. I was downloading each of those as they were going to YouTube, so we didn't have any weird download issues after the fact like we did with Chungus. Because I was like, tell me right now if we're gonna have a problem downloading you, so that way I can just re-export it before it falls off of Twitch. Because that was a pain in the ass trying to record it off of the video playing off of my channel. I did manage to get it, but I don't think it's too noticeable. That section of video might be a little more zoomed in than the other sections, just because I had to make it a little bit bigger to get something off of the page. What's up?
Not much.
Oh, it seemed like you were heading outside. Was the dog okay?
Yeah. We sat outside for a while. She wiggled her butt.
She's good at that. I almost... Oh, no. This color is tough because there's some white mixed in. So there's sections where it's a little bit lighter, and I'm like, is that like gray felt coming through there, or is it the white on the yarn? And I think it's the white in the yarn coming up, or what I'm seeing that I'm thinking is the light gray. So that might be why it looks like I'm fussing in a section a little bit extra. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have some trees in here, so it won't be so noticeable, but oh my gosh. So we're talking about trying to figure out a way without sacrificing a firstborn child to record the drive through the keys. We weren't sure if we wanted to get a GoPro or if we just want to try to get an extended SD card or whatever to put in his phone to give him some more memory and just record it with his phone, or if we want to go the GoPro route. And he was looking at the GoPros and he goes, well, I really like this one. And I was like, okay. And he goes, but it's $600. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, we didn't even spend that much on the new camera. And I wasn't happy about how much he had spent on the new camera either. But I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. So we were trying to figure out if we could just do it with his phone, because we're like, okay, so if we got it for that, what else are we going to use this camera for? Like, we have to justify the price. Like, I did not know they were that much money. I was thinking like 3 to 4. When he's like 6, I was like, oh Jesus. Because I was watching somebody do a walking tour down Duval Street. I was like, I want to do that, but I want, it done in our way. Like, no talking, just, whatever street noises there are. Or I can, like, overlay some like, islandy music from the YouTube library in the background, so I can use that as my visual for when I'm on the treadmill, right? And I'll probably throw it up on the YouTube channel. And if anybody else wants to watch it, cool, fine. And we were trying to figure out how to do that. And he's like, well, I could do my phone. He's like, I could get a chest mount for it. And I was like, okay, but we need to... He goes, I'm pretty sure there's an expansion slot on this phone that I can add a larger card to. Larger memory thingy. And I was like, okay. And I was like, see this person? I was like, they've got to be using a gimbal. Or some kind of special feature on whatever camera they were using, because the turns were too smooth and almost looked slowly robotic. It was definitely not somebody turning naturally, because every turn they did where they turned to look at something was like real slow and deliberate. And I was like, and he goes, the gimbal we could mount to a backpack that has a chest strap. He's like, so that way I'm not holding it the whole time. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, so the gimbals are about 300-ish bucks. And I was like, oh my god. Why? He goes, because it's a piece of tech. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna happen this trip. Not with everything that keeps happening. I thought, we'd spend like maybe 25 bucks to fix the sink. Oh no. I don't laugh, I'm just gonna fucking cry. Like, we just had to replace the stove, but I mean, I'm trying to think of what else we could use it for. Like, we could do like a walking video series on the channel, like as like a separate thingy, separate playlist, because there's a walking trail in Fayetteville, around Lake Fayetteville. There's another walking trail near us, like 2 minutes from our house at a state park. Like, we could like use that and walk the whole trail. I think is it a mile trail, I think? So, I mean, it's part of like their battlefield tour thingy that they have. They've got like history placards every so often as you walk. So, I mean, we could try to do that as well. So, and I mean, I don't know, I don't think we can use it at the zoo. I mean, it technically wouldn't be for professional use purposes. But the zoo's funny about what stuff you can bring in. Like, a lot of them are like, no tripod, selfie stick kind of things. And we already have the one camera. But, I mean, there's things that we could probably use it for. I'm trying to think of, like, larger areas that we can take it, so we're not doing anything too close to our address. Because some people like to be super into matching things around where people live to pinpoint where they live. For some fucking reason. So, so there's that trail. There is another trail at another state park, but we have to pay to go to that one. So, I mean, it's not too much. I mean, we could also do a walk around. Yeah, like, I have to justify the purchase, right? Because we're not, like, swimming in cash, but we don't have to panic now about getting groceries every month. But, like, we can buy, like, a snack and not have to panic about the budget. So I mean, we could also do a walk and do a recording around Fort Zachary down there as well, just to change it up a little bit. So, I mean, I think I could justify the cost, at least in my brain. Because while we might not be able to go every year now, we might be able to go like every couple of years now. This is an exception. Because we kind of, like, my brother was really pushing for us to come back again sooner than later. And he was talking about trying to put his his first house up for sale since he's moving into the second one. And so he was, now my brother can be a lot of talk as well, but he was saying something, if the house sold before we, like by the summer, he could try to give us some money to put towards coming back down again. We've got it budgeted out where we think we'll be fine without his help, because I'm not guaranteeing. In my brain, I'm going to operate off the assumption that he's not giving us any money at all to come down with. I mean, when we were there, he was like throwing hundreds like everywhere. He gave my mom 100, he gave me 100. I think he tried to pay for our dinner one night. He might have tried to give Russell $100 too, I'm not sure. And then like we spent like $30 on dinner the one night that he came over to the hotel and was eating with us there before we left. And he was like trying to give us more money there, and I'm like, okay, so he's got something stashed away somewhere. He's just not letting on that he has it. So, and for a second, he was thinking about coming down to Key West with us. Because he's like, oh, I've never been down there. And then he's like, yeah, but I got a lot of stuff to get. He goes, if I didn't have so much stuff to get done on the house so that he could move into the new one, he goes, I'd probably come down with you guys. And I'm like, I had a brief moment of panic because I'm like, we only have the hotel registered for 3 people. I mean, they might be able to squeeze a 4th one on, but then my mom and him will have to share a room. But, you know, I don't know if there's any place that he could stay last minute, just himself. And he'd probably have to be on the newer side of the island. And I'm like, oh, how are we going to do this? Do we have to quick find him a hotel? But then he's like, no, I've got too much stuff to do here. So I was like, okay, whew. One small thing averted. But, because, I mean, our hotel room wasn't that big for where we were staying. They might have still had some rooms available. But I was like, yeah, okay. Where do we want to go? Maybe here? So I was like, oh boy. But, we've kind of got it worked out where we should be able to do it. And then we won't have to, it won't be us feeding 3 people down in Key West. It'll just be Russell and I, and we won't need 3 full meals a day. We'll probably do breakfast and dinner. And then like some snacks, or it might be like early dinner, late lunch, and then some snacks or something. But I doubt we're gonna be doing 3 meals a day. Plus we'll have leftover car snacks that we'll use in the hotel. And there's a couple of like little convenience stores not that far from where we're staying that we can walk to and grab some snackies. If we so need. But yeah, I was like in a mini panic when he was like starting to say, oh, I've never been down there, and I'm like, I'm surprised. And I was thinking, you know, he goes, if I didn't have so much work to do on the house, I might have come down with you 3. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, where am I gonna put you? Like, if we'd been in a vacation rental, it probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but we weren't. I'd looked at a couple, but, after, like, the cleaning fees and deposits and stuff, it was gonna be more than where we ended up staying, and I'm like, eh. I was like, that's fine, we'll just do this. But hopefully we'll like this place that we're staying at this time. I keep trying to develop a hotel loyalty down there, but they're not making it easy. I find a place that I'm like and happy with, And then I can't ever get another reservation booked again. What?
Ready for a laugh? My aunt told everyone it was Sunday that she was going to get here, including my Aunt Linda.
Was Linda in fucking
Yep.
Tulsa? Oh no!
Oh no, Aunt Linda had to go for a 4-hour drive for nothing. Gee, I feel so bad.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
Do we have to pick her up from Tulsa tomorrow?
She's figuring it out now. I asked her. Because I assume if Linda went up there and was there for...
There's no way Linda's gonna do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh yes. Couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
Oh no! Oh, Linda's gotta be livid sitting there waiting for her to get off the plane.
Because you know she sat there for a while.
Yeah, she probably got there like 20 minutes early.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. This is my family we're talking about.
Well, true, but she was probably like, oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's a 4-hour round trip. Because for some reason she flew into Tulsa instead of Northwest Arkansas Regional. Oh no. Oh no. It's his aunt that had words with Russell at one point in Walmart when he was having more severe anxiety and depression issues where he just couldn't handle going to family functions. It was just too much for him, and they were always at her house. And she'd run into us and she had said something, and Russell's like, well, you know, I'm trying to work through this. Sorry, I haven't been able to make it to anything. And she's like, well, you choose to be part of this family or something, or well, you choose whether or not to be part of this family or something. It was something snide and totally disrespectful.
And in a way, she was right. She wasn't so right before she opened her mouth, but she's right now.
Wait, right about what?
About you choose your family?
Oh, I thought she said, well, you choose to be part of this family or something. Or...
Yep.
And I'm like, oh
and
my
she's
God.
absolutely correct now.
And I'm like, I wasn't that big of a fan of hers from the beginning, but we were so both stunned because I had just gotten off of work and we were trying to get some groceries at the Walmart Supercenter, and I was like, oh my God. So we don't go to family functions. I haven't been to a family function since we moved down here. I'm like, no, that's okay. I was like, I can't with my anxiety levels, my own, and I'm not going to subject myself to who the fuck knows how long we'd have to be there. So I was like, you can go. Oh darn, I need to stay home and take care of the dogs. They've got tiny pea-sized bladders and I can't. We both can't be out of the house that long. Oh shucks. But the same one that showed up unannounced to see if she still wanted the hay bales. And I was like, it's really weird that she asked that sister to pick her up from the airport. I was like, I figured it would make more sense. It would be a pain in the ass, but it would make more sense for us because then we're just bringing her back to our house. We wouldn't have to bring her to this location and then drive another 20 minutes back, 20 to 30 minutes back to where one lives. Hey, Russell? Russ?
Yeah.
Come here.
Okay. What's up?
We may have to pick her up because it's supposed to be like shitty, rainy thunderstorms and like potential flooding in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if your aunt's going to be able to get out of her driveway.
And when is that supposed to happen?
Like around 5 or 6 a.m. It's supposed to move into our area. I'd rather know ahead of time. if we have to do this tomorrow so we can plan to leave at an appropriate time. Instead of having to scramble to drive 2 hours from here, 2.5. For a flight that's supposed to land at noon. If we do end up picking her up, I want her flight number. So I can look it up ahead of time to see if it got delayed or canceled before we leave. Because if her flight gets in at noon and we have to pick her up, we have to leave here like 9:30, quarter to 10. It's gonna be a long day tomorrow. I kind of noon, 12:30 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2:30. We could potentially stream just a little bit late tomorrow if I go with him. But do y'all have these kind of issues? Like, oh my god. Oh, I'm just like, nothing ever is simple. If we do end up having to pick her up, I would like her flight airline and and number and stuff so I can check to see if it got delayed or something. Mm-hmm. Like, is it just us that this fucking shit happens to?
No, we just handle it worse than others.
Like, I mean, I know shit goes wrong for other people, but just the way it happens on top of each other. Like dominoes falling over. I just... Oi. Plus we have to run... Oh shit, we were supposed to run to the vet in the morning. I have no idea how long that's gonna take.
Hey, gotta ask, where do you stash your brown sugar now?
That's a good question. You had it on the top shelf, and I got it down to use it. I put it in a Ziploc bag.
Oh, there it is. It was stashed on the side up behind something. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I guess in theory we could take the potty sample back up to the vet after we get back, or he gets back, or... But I don't know how late they're open. Ah! My fluff went flying. What do you need the brown sugar for?
I'm making some bacon and I'm just trying to flavor it up.
Oh no. Aren't you going to be weird about a different flavor?
Nah, not really. It's just brown sugar. And I've already eaten that bacon, so I know it's good.
Okay. When are they going to find out if we have to pick her up?
She says that Linda's willing to come get her.
She's sure?
Yep.
Like, Linda's definitely doing this. I don't want to call it, like,
hey. think happy thoughts. It means she'll probably be ready to leave us the fuck alone when she gets here.
No, that's fine. I just don't want to call at, like, noon.
Probably won't get back.
Because Linda didn't show up.
Probably won't.
Okay. Alright, good, because we have to deal with the vet in the morning. I mean, I would have been happy about doing it, but if we had to, we had to. It would have complicated matters for tomorrow. For sure. Alright, it looked like there was a lighter section. Oh, so apparently I was wrong. Planet Zoo console didn't come out yet. It's gonna be coming out. I guess the thing I saw was just the announcement that it was coming. I think they said it's gonna be launching in 2 days. So that was my confusion. I don't know, part of my brain feels like that would be harder to do with a controller. But maybe not. Hell, it could potentially be easier, but I don't know. So I think I saw that the update for Stardew Valley... Yeah, I don't think I could play it with a controller either. Like trying to figure out how even the mouse controls would translate to controller. I don't know if I could. I think I would get super frustrated, but that's just me. From what I saw, the Stardew Valley update should be on the Game Pass version of Stardew now. I think. If I read that right, if I read that tweet right, it's supposed to be. I might give that one more go and see if it tries to give me a headache again. Like, I feel bad because I don't know why it's suddenly giving me a headache when I used to play it all the time before. It's like my graphics card got better and then now I can't play it. It's so bizarre. You do want to check out the changes at some point. Yeah, like I was trying to make one. And I don't know when this happened because I haven't played Stardew Valley in forever. So I kind of wasn't paying attention to any updates or anything with it. But I know when like the game first came out and stuff, you didn't really start with anything. You had your farm, you had your like base farmhouse, and they gave you like your main tools that you had to upgrade, and then they like gave you your like, what was it, 15 parsnip seeds, or turnip, the white yellow thing. I'm not sure what it was now. It was one of those. And to get your starting feet under you, and then you had to clear your whole farm, and you know, depending on what map you picked, as the maps expanded, you know, then you got different farm layouts. And when I was reading the I don't know if it's the channel log or the patch notes, if you will, I guess. I don't know if this came in with this change or if it was a previous change, but they've added a lot of shit. There's apparently fish smokers now. They've added dehydrators now. I don't know if that came in with this one or not. I'm like, some of this stuff feels very Coral Islandy, which I found slightly amusing. But the dehydrators are for like the fruit trees or some shit. And so not the same as the dehydrators work in Coral Island, where they apparently at the moment are only using them on like fish and stuff. But then I was reading and it was like, okay, so they added a new farm map. I think they called it Meadowlands or something, or some kind of meadow. And that one starts you off, and I did try to, I used that as my test map to see if I could play to figure out what was going on. We may have fixed the issue, but I'll have to try it on a day where I'm not even remotely headachy and see what happens. You start with a chicken coop and 2 chickens on the meadow map. And I'm like, huh. I was like, that's weird. And when I loaded in, now I picked the random community center because, you know, just to change things up. And when I loaded in, I opened my box, my starter box, that I was expecting to have my starter seeds in it. And instead of 15 seeds, I had 15 pieces of hay. And I was sitting there and I was kind of dumbstruck, and I'm like, where's my seeds? What? Why did they give me hay? I was very confused. And then I'm like, oh right, the chickens, I guess. And so I went and I checked on them, and there was 2 chicks running around in the thing, and I fed them, and then I remembered, oh right, if they go outside, they eat outside. I didn't have to feed them yet. And I patted the chickens on the head, and I was trying to clear out a small section to at least get some farming started. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, why didn't they give me any seeds for the start quest? Because I skipped through the intro. Because like the sound was blasting and I had to get to the options to turn the sound down and everything. And I'd seen it before and I was like, okay. And then I opened my quest log. And I had the quest to go meet everybody. I was like, okay, cool. That's always there. Except instead of the quest to like grow your first crop and like harvest your first whatever it was, turnip, parsnip, I can't remember. It was one of those. It was get an egg from one of the chickens. And I was like, what? I was like, that's different. And the chicken coop starts with like its own little fenced in area. And then I had to fill my water can, and I'm like, well, where the hell's the water on this map? And the chickens actually have like a waterfall up near them. I was so confused. I was like, what? What is this? This is different. And then I was reading the patch notes further. And there was something about the Riverlands farm not being that great for growing crops, or not that much room to grow crops, but it's great for fishing, and this farm starts with a fish smoker. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Since when are our farms coming with stuff? Like, I was like, we start with the fish smoker? I was so confused. I was like, so if this quest that came with, or this map that came with chicken coops, is like, oh, hey, hi there, here's some chickens. Your first quest is to, get an egg. Does that mean that the first quest on the farming, on the fishy map with the smoker, is you have to smoke some fish? I don't know. I'm so confused. I was like, okay. There was so much that I don't even remember. I think I bookmarked it. There's like a new desert festival, but you can't get to the desert festival until you fix the bus stop. So I'm like, okay, well that's a new thing that's like not accessible right away. And then somebody I saw on Twitter showed a picture of like if you're doing multiplayer, you like to start out as single player and then switch it to multiplayer, and like you can go to Robin to purchase different types of player houses or something. I was really confused about it, so I'd have to look at it myself to understand it. But like there was like one of them was like a little trailer that you could put like a campy Airstream trailer looking thing, and I was like, huh. I was like, well, why can't I live in that? Maybe I don't want a cabin. It was strange. Not in a bad way, but just it was different. You plan on starting over with all the new stuff? Yeah, like I would have to make a new map. I didn't save the one game that I had started to see. Try again? I might on like a not even remotely headachy day.
Yeah, we'll try that, and we'll try, we might try zooming you out a little bit more again, because that'll reduce the pixelation, it might help.
Maybe.
Because honestly, I also note that your screen used to be much smaller back when you were able to play it.
Was it a smaller screen? I know it's been forever since I've played it. It might have been the other whatever size that monitor is that you have that you took from me is when I might have started having trouble. But they are working on the next update for Coral Island. From the tweet I saw, don't know when that's gonna come out yet. Sorry, that piece looked a little thin in there, so I just wanted to take care of that right now. What time is it? Oh, we're almost done for the day. Time sure flew today. That would be why I'm getting hungry. I have no idea what I'm doing for dinner tonight. I pulled chicken out. I was at a loss. I was like, I don't fucking know. I could make chicken and broccoli. I could make bourbon chicken. I don't know what I want to do for dinner. I honestly want pizza, but my mom's been so weird about me making, or us having pizza, that she's like, no, not pizza. And I'm like, but pizza. Pizza is easy. Well, it's not super easy, because I do the dough from scratch, but then I can feed Russell, too. I don't know. Maybe I will... I mean, I could do garlic chicken. I don't know what I want to do. I have some like teriyaki pineapple marinade stuff I could do. I did that last night with beef strips. I kind of want chicken broccoli pizza, but that's something that I have to cook chicken specifically for ahead of time. We don't have any more steakums. Oh, there you go. I want to get some steakums next month, if we can afford it.
What's you want?
I want to get a box of steakums next month if we can afford it.
Okay.
Just for something different for dinner.
I get it. I have no objection.
So I could do like Steakums on pizza. We can have steak sandwiches. The only thing is, this box is fucking expensive for how much you get when you're trying to feed multiple people. I should add that on there. If you're just yourself, then if you're only feeding one person, it's not so bad. But when you're trying to feed multiples, the box goes real fucking fast. Do some little cheesesteaky guys. I'm just tired of making dinner. I think is all it really comes down to. But I gotta eat. I mean, we have tomato soup, but I'm not really feeling tomato soup tonight. And I already took the chicken out of the freezer, so... I don't know. I might end up doing bourbon chicken. We still have apple juice in the freezer. Well, we still have apple juice not frozen too, that I haven't opened yet. I'll tell you what, though. I don't know what it is about... I don't know if it's just me eating something and Momo thinks that he should have it. Or if there's something about the smell of Apple Jacks that this dog goes crazy for. Because I had picked up a box of that the other night when I was at a loss of what snack I wanted. Because I was hungry, but I didn't know what I wanted. And I'm like, well, I guess I can have this for when I get off the treadmill for a few days, just to get something in me. And every time I sit down with it, he like perks up and he's like staring at me, and then he's like growling at me, not like mean growl, but he does these little like attention getting grrr, 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 like he's like, I also like this. And I'm like, buddy, I don't really think you want this. Like, I don't think there's anything in there that he can't have. But I just think you want it, but I don't think you actually want it. Like, there's times where I'm in the kitchen and I'm chopping up vegetables and they're both standing there. They're like being all bouncy and wiggly and they're being gurry like they want what I've got. I'm like, I'm cutting carrots. We've tried this before. You guys won't eat them. I've tried. I'd be thrilled to give you a carrot to chew on. I'm like, this is what I've got. And I have to bend down and let them smell it. Sometimes they pick up a piece and drop it on the floor and walk away. I'm like, I could have still eaten that. Thanks. But, they're like, no. I'm like, well, that's what there is. This is what's all exciting. It's not what you think it is, bud. They are so silly sometimes. Alright, let's see here. Uh-oh. There we go. I was like, how are you stuck? That doesn't make sense. Hey, look, see, we're adding a new color in there. Gonna add all kinds of new colors to that map by the time we're done. Alright, so I think we're looking pretty good. And I think we're gonna stop there. I mean, the position of the barn's not too bad. I'm probably gonna have to clean up the angles on it just a little bit over here because it looks a little odd. Like, I think I need to straighten up this corner. It is kind of... Yeah, that'll help a little bit if I straighten that one up. But, you know, it's not a bad start considering we had to sketch everything into place today. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if we can get it somewhat close to the original. We still have to put some clouds and stuff in, but I want to get the entire sky background in first before we do with that. We're a little bunched up in here, but that's because we started here and we're working all the way over instead of like working our way down. But that should even out as we go. And I do have it a little bit thick in here because it looked like some spots were a little thin at times, and I was trying to prevent an issue for when we go to put the trees in. But we're going to do our clouds, and then we'll do our trees in on top. But I wanted to make sure that we were good and covered so it wasn't an issue later when we come back in. So tomorrow, we should be streaming normal-ish time tomorrow, maybe start around 1 in the afternoon here. I'll try to start sooner if we're able to. Excuse me. I wasn't sure if that was going to be a sneeze, a cough, or a yawn, the way that one started. Last night I geared up to sneeze and then went to sneeze and it ended up turning into a back of the throat cough. It was very strange. But, my sinuses are trying to kill me. So, we'll try to start a little bit early tomorrow. So just make sure you've got your notifications turned on and, or you follow me on Twitter or whatever. And we'll pick back up with the sky. Hopefully we can get, I don't know if we'll get all of the sky finished tomorrow, but we should at least get, like, maybe to here, if not a little bit further. Depends on how motivated and how distracted I am tomorrow. Yeah, so you guys have a good evening. Don't forget to follow the socially thingies down below. So we've got the Twitter, the Ko-fi, the Instagram, and the YouTube page. You all have a great night. I need to go find dinner. And have a good Monday, and I will see you tomorrow.